Hello and welcome y'all. What's up? I'm back for a quick little video. I'm just here to give my first impressions and just my quick thoughts on 2XKO. Because I have been playing it since the start of closed beta, I guess, as because I was in the very first alpha lab. So I have got access to the closed beta and I've been playing it for about, let's say, 2 weeks now. And I want to give my thoughts on it and how I feel about it right before it enters, I guess, early access on October 7th. So it's gonna be quick. So first things first, it's been a solid year since I've touched the game when I started closed beta. And it just took me a minute to get my bearings again. And I would have to say the number one thing I struggled with while actually getting back into the game is, again, the controls and the lack of motion inputs. I did discuss this in my earlier video about the game when I talked about my experience with the Alpha Lab, but it hasn't changed and it looks like they're just sticking to the no emotion inputs and giving you a special 1 and special 2 button, which I was one of the people at the start of closed beta who this affected a lot because I didn't know what buttons I was pressing. Once again, it wasn't intuitive, and it took me a longer time to learn this game more than others. I'm definitely going to be a slow learner when it came to this game, but I want to play it to actually, iron out that time and get up to speed. Since Alpha Lab 1, a few things have changed. Like, one thing that I wanted to change was they took away pulse fuse. Instead of pulse being a fuse, which is the auto combo system by itself, it's now just an option that you can have on during character select. And it's player based, so even though that you're using pulse, your teammate doesn't have to use pulse. This is a win-win. I still do find it weird that they separated like core tag game mechanics, that's like DHCs and double tagging, into their own fuses, but it looks like we are getting new fuses, like we got Juggernaut and Sidekick. I feel like if they continue their stated mission statement that says, hey, this game's going to last like a decade or so, we're probably going to get a few more fuses as the game goes on, so we'll see how those things pan out. After 2 weeks of actually playing the game and like learning it, I can say the game's really solid. Now, it's no BB Tag to me, but it has the potential to be better than BB Tag in the long run, and I can see myself playing this game for the foreseeable future. When I started playing the game, I decided to try out all the characters, even though the roster is small. It's what you do. You just try out all the characters, see who you like, what you like, such and such. And unfortunately, I had the same problem I did in the Alpha Lab. Nobody in this 10 character roster clicks with me super well. So I decided to play Braum Jinx. Braum because that's the safe choice, it's who I played in the Alpha Lab 1, and Jinx because I just want to play as someone a little bit defensive and just maybe have a good assist to cover Braum. But all in all these characters didn't click with me, and Jinx was a bit weird to me. Actually, let me just talk about all the characters using the tier list made by Sejam because I definitely agree with it. I do believe that Yasuo is the best in the game in this current build, not oppressively so, but just clearly the best, especially since he has a lot of great solo damage and a lot of great neutral. Like, he basically can operate by himself, which is pretty cool because it's thematic to Yasuo since he is kind of a loner and such. And I still think it's cool that Yasuo is about the only one in the game right now who can just do a clean double super, just to add to his ability to operate by himself. I think Jinx is pretty good, but probably not in my hands because she's not fully a traditional projectile zoner and she's not fully a trap character. She's kind of a bit of both while still being a brawler. It's kind of weird to my brain, so I don't get it, but she is strong. I think Echo has the potential to stay super relevant in the game's lifetime, over maybe years, because I don't see him falling off anytime soon. I feel like, they might nerf Yasuo enough to make him not as good, or they might change someone. But even with all the addition to new fuses and characters, I feel like Echo's kit is uniquely super solid, where he will always be a top tier threat. And it takes some time for you to learn him. So I think Echo is a fantastic character. Alawi is a fantastic and a powerful set play character. And she's very strong too. I'm glad she's getting her limelight right now because she didn't get that limelight in the Alpha Labs. I still think Darius is a bit of a problem, more like of a noob killer sense, because he has very far normals, very quick normals, and the bleed is ridiculous. He might not be the top tier on this list, but I feel like Darius is probably the first noob killer like wall a lot of people will hit, and probably a lot of people will pick up when they first start the game. I think that Vi is really solid, not too overbearing and not too underpowered, just really solid. I actually haven't had a lot of time with Ari, and it's mostly because of the control scheme, and you know, I don't know what buttons do what, but I feel like she's very good. I think that Braum is pretty darn good, but I feel like a lot of characters in this current roster are just better than him. I feel like he just can't do anything like by himself, that he's going to need a good partner, but if he gets his hands on you, he can do a lot of great things. And lastly, Blitzcrank. I think Blitzcrank is a grappler, as in like, you know, he's basically one note, and that note is pretty, you know, it's a good tune. But if you don't know how to play a grappler, you're going to struggle. If you do know how to play against a grappler, as long as you keep those fundamentals, you shouldn't have a big struggle with Blitzcrank. All in all, what I love about the rosters, I feel like they translated like the theme of the character and the character themselves from the mobile to the fighting game just really well. I feel like this is how the characters would play, you know, in a fighting game. I feel like I'm playing as the characters, and I hope they do keep that feeling when they introduce new champions, because that's really what I want out of this game. I just want to feel like I'm playing as the characters. So when my favorite characters get added to the game, I'll be happy. Speaking of, here are 3 of the characters that I know, definitely because they're very popular, is coming to the game that I feel like I'll be interested in. And those 3 are Warwick, Kindred, and Twisted Fate. I feel like given their popularity and the fact that you can definitely see how these people work in a fighting game, they're gonna be a shoo-in. Maybe not now, but you know, eventually. And 3 of my dream picks that I can definitely see working, but you know, they probably won't be like high on the priority list, would be Kled, Neferi, and Ornn. I would definitely love to be able to play these characters just in a fighting game in general. They're just really cool concepts and ideas. All in all, I still have high expectations for 2XKO, and I do have competitive pursuits for 2XKO as well. However, none of that starts until I actually find a character that I want to play. Like, yeah, I could just pick up a top tier, like maybe just play Yasuo or whatever, but you know, it's like, I don't want to go through the motions when I play a game competitively, knowing I'm going to be playing it for hundreds and hundreds of hours. I want to feel good. I want to like have fun while playing the game over and over and over. And with the recent news that Teemo is coming to the game, the little devil, I feel like, you know, they're going to get a lot of great popular characters out. And, you know, maybe I'll just play him for now. But also, they had said that they're going to have 5 seasons a year, and every season is going to have a new character. So in no time, this game's going to just be full of characters. And hopefully, one of those characters will fit me, and I'll just enjoy myself playing the game, and just, I guess, start my competitive pursuits for the game. I think that I will truly start enjoying the game once I do have a character, but for now, I'm just, you know, I think the game is solid, and I'm just kind of on the wait and see once new characters drop and new things change. And, you know, since there's not a lot of modes outside of versus mode, you know, I'm just gonna wait till I find a character. Good game though, good game.